Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Flynn, and I'm here with
Scott Lang.
And we are the Band Dads. Here to bring you a podcast about something that we care very dearly about, which is music education and band.
Some of you are here because you want to learn about all things band. Some of you are here because you want to see a train wreck. And the answer is yes to both of those. We don't care why you're here. We're going to answer all the questions. We're going to say the things you're thinking. We're going to debunk all the myths.
Yep. This is the Band Dads Podcast.
The podcast by and for confused band parents.
Nice. You said the tagline.
On tonight's show.
So I think it's a good balance. It's a good balance of they learn the lesson and it's hard, but it's not so hard that it's too hard.
That's my favorite thing you've said on our Band Dad podcast.
Oh, wow.
Let's begin, shall we?
I do. I like sneakers, but they're like, I can't keep up with it. Like, they're expensive and they come out so often, and and I'm not patient enough. Like Chris, he's always like matching. He's got the colorway with that. Like, look at him right now.
Yeah.
Look, the hat, the shirt, and the shoes. Like I
stopped
all black
trying
all the time. Like, it's just
You do wear a lot of black. Except for speaking of shoes. Speaking of shoes, Mr. Denny, it's time for you to confess up on I mean, you always show up to competition with two different color shoes. So are you a homeless person? Are you?
No,
and now your
no.
kid, this cute little kid Magnus, showed up wearing a black and a white shoe at the last competition. Are you teaching him to be colorblind?
No. Like,
What's the story? Tell us how it happened.
Well, it's kind of just a hype for me now, to be honest with you.
I think it's a hype for the parents. Like, if you didn't show up and be like, we're going to finish in last place. God, we suck.
No, I always liked, like we were just saying, I enjoy shoes. I think they were cool, and even since high school, so I always had colorful shoes. In my first teaching job, I taught guitar, and I was split between elementary and junior high, and I had this student in junior high band. He was going through a hard time, and we did like a teacher mediation, and he was going to go to a school for like getting credits up and stuff, and he was really kind of passive in the meeting, and he's like, the only reason I really show up to school is because Mr. Denny's got some cool shoes. I was like, okay. So, and then
Whatever it takes.
I've always liked Tommy Lee, Motley Crue.
Yeah.
The white and the red shoe, and I was like,
okay,
I could rock that. So I tried it, and it's stuck, and now it's kind of a hype. So
okay, sweet.
So it started because you wanted to be Motley Crue. You feel like
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel like you were passed over being a band director? Like you should have been.
100%.
Do you think you should have been a rock band drummer?
Oh, I should be playing some butt rock somewhere. Absolutely.
Butt rock?
Butt rock. Yeah, just 4 on the floor all the time. You just.
I didn't know. I mean, I knew what yacht rock was, but I'm old.
Yacht
I didn't know
rock.
It's probably not that far off. Yeah, it's probably
Are we
somewhere.
able to edit that? Can we still be PG-13?
Butt rock? You can say butt. Yeah. No, butt's acceptable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we said butt.
Rear
All right,
end
say butt.
rock.
So teacher, happy teacher appreciation.
Thank you. I mean, that means.
For those who don't know, we're being joined today on the Band Dad podcast. And for those of you watching on YouTube, we're in the new Band Dad studios.
Oh, we got a studio?
Well, look, we have a cool backdrop. We should call it.
This is cooler than your library with pictures and books of yourself everywhere. This is like the gloating Scott Lang library. We don't have that anymore.
I was actually wanting to picture me up there, but we settled for the Band Dad podcast. I'm not going to be here next season anyway.
Again,
so
I can edit it in, Scott. We can sit with a picture of us, a picture of you behind
All
us.
right, so it's Teacher Appreciation Week.
It is.
And our week to honor you, which is why we wanted to bring you on. For those who don't know, Smiles Smenny is not his real name, Chris.
It's pretty infamous on this Band Dad
it's very
podcast.
close. Our band director joins us, Miles Denny, director of bands from Basha High School. We appreciate you coming on.
Yes.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
Very much so.
Okay,
Really
so
appreciate
Teacher
it.
Appreciation Week. My wife and Chris's wife were in charge of Teacher Appreciation yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there was a burrito breakfast, and you were a no-show, Mr.
I
Denny.
was, yes.
What is it? And then
Wow.
how did he get his burro, Chris?
Did the board tell on you? How did you know that? How did you find out that?
My wife came home and said our own teachers didn't show up and it was paid for by the band booster.
It was, yes.
And you didn't you ghosted the band booster Teacher Appreciation.
I
That's not very
did.
appreciative.
So I see what you're doing, but you also just outed your wife as a snitch. So we got to be careful because
Coming for you later.
because yeah, I assume. But listen, we wouldn't let him go without, right? As pushy as we are as band boosters, we still
pushy.
insisted that he eat breakfast, so we delivered breakfast.
So
for
you
them.
Uber Eats him.
Yeah, basically.
So
yeah.
instead of 5 Deuce Media, you're just going to be an Uber driver now?
Listen, I'm an entrepreneur, so wherever the opportunity is, that's where I go. So
That's a low-hanging
Okay,
fruit
so
there,
we
yeah.
have Band Dad Coin. We're selling certificates. We're doing Uber Eats. There was one other thing we were trying to make.
besides
some money.
the shirts, besides the actual merch and whatnot,
I mean,
I don't know.
we got to get a whole product line going on here.
Season 2, it's coming.
So we're excited that you guys joined us. Okay, so Miles, we're going to assume, and the correct answer is yes, we're going to assume you have actually listened to the Band Dad podcast.
I have.
You have. Okay, so now is your time, Miles. Now is your time. If you would need to right a wrong, if you need to fix a fact, if you need to put Chris in his place as he so rightly deserves,
I'm confident that
is
is not a problem.
We've missed, or you heard and went, well, that's not right, or I don't understand that. This is your chance.
You know, I think the biggest thing is like you do take some low blows at some trombone players.
Oh my God!
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
thank you.
You know, let's be real. Trombone players, they got the best ears. I mean, they got to do that.
No,
with
they're
Thank
supposed
you.
to have the best.
Oh well,
ears.
okay, correction. They're supposed. No, you're right. You're supposed to. I'm not going to go there.
I've always said trombone players were my favorite kids in band.
Oh, 100%.
Because they're the funniest section in band, always. If you want to laugh a lot but learn nothing, go to a trombone sectional. You'll need a tetanus shot afterwards, but it's still worth attending just once in your life.
Well, just look at the instrument. I mean, who would choose that? I mean, I don't know.
It's the only instrument without buttons. They're not smart enough for buttons. Have you ever thought about that?
You think buttons take intelligence?
That's what you literally they put a trigger lock on it. The only thing that has a trigger lock is an assault rifle and a trombone. You start to see the correlation here.
Listen, I don't know. You need a license for? No, I guess not. I guess that's not true either.
You don't need a license for either.
That's what I'm saying. I was thinking about that for a moment. But so your assumption to insult them all the time is just they automatically have a good sense of humor. Is that?
It's always been the case. In my 6 years in the classroom,
all right.
if I ever wanted to laugh, I just went and hung out the trombone section. I mean, so real quick. So my trombone section, I just worship them. And they decide they need a bulletin board. And they're like, we need a bulletin board. I go, why? And they go, Mr. Lang, we're the trombone section. We need a bulletin board. So I requisitioned it, got a little bulletin board put up, and they put nonsensical crap on the board every day, every single day. After about 6 weeks, I got pissed. I'm like, trombone, get over here. And I'm like, yeah. I go, what's with the crap on? You asked for, I did. And they all started laughing. I go, what? They go, yeah, we just put weird stuff up in there to mess with you. We like to watch you stare at it every day.
Now, we used to do that with our band director, but it was the plaques on the walls. He loved everything to be like super. So we'd take them and we'd just like turn one or two, and we would just like laugh as he's like going up, and it's every single day. I mean, but this is also the guy that he would Windex the kickboards in the band room.
I know, because he was my roommate. Miles' band director was my roommate.
Really?
I mean, if you Google anal retentive, that's a picture of that man right there.
No kidding.
I mean, if I were going to mess with him, that's exactly how I do it. I just take the plaque
slightly, just so you barely notice it.
So, is there, other than my pedantic picking on the trombone section, have we missed the boat on anything?
No, I think you're spot on Dinkles looking like orthotics. They absolutely do.
Somebody actually asked me last night. So I ran into a guy who used to march for Hamilton back in the early 2000s, who's like a friend, is the husband of my wife's friend. Anyway, he literally asked me that question. He goes, do they still wear dinkles? I was like, oh my God, I just learned what that word meant. Anyway.
You guys are sneakerheads. You should own a pair of dinkles. You should rock them, Chris.
I might actually finally draw the line at dinkles. That might be where my appetite for sneakers stops, is at dinkles.
It's
that
not
might
even
be
a
it.
sneaker.
I mean, you're right. It's not.
But they call these things vipers. Like that makes them cooler. I mean,
absolutely.
I could give my grandmother a pair of those, and they would just fit right into the nursing home. I swear. So we haven't done anything tragically wrong. We haven't portrayed you or this crazy activity in a.
I mean, you called me Smiles Smenny, but there was low-hanging fruit. I mean, you should have just spoonerismed it and changed the first and last letter, Dials Many.
Oh, Dials Many.
Spoonerism?
You know, yeah, that's when you change the first letter of two words. It's called a spoonerism.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm learning a new word every episode. I mean, what was copium? Was
at least he explains the words he uses that people don't understand. I'll later have to go back and correct you.
I had to have a dictionary when you were speaking. Sometimes I was like, oh my gosh, I know I'm not that intelligent, but dang.
Yeah, especially because the way he tries to play it down and pretend.
Yeah,
I'm a drummer.
He tries to act like
look at my vocabulary.
Unintelligent.
Yes, I am. No. We want everyone to get to know you because it is Teacher Appreciation Week, and we wanted to bring you on not only just to celebrate you, but so that people better understand you. So we're going to play a little game of speed round. I call it speed dating. You ready to play?
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
wait. Who am I trying to date?
It's
okay. Understood. Okay.
Wait. Do you have a preference?
No, sir.
Tell us right now. Would you prefer him?
I mean,
the sneakers in my closet are pretty attractive. I confessed to Scott how many pairs of sneakers I have. The other
how
day, by the way.
How many do you have?
Well, wait. How many do you have?
We could play that game.
Yeah. Play the game.
I don't have as many as I did, but I probably have like 10 or 12 pair.
Okay.
I've got like 3.
He does. He's got like, one for casual, one for running, and one for dress. He's
Yes,
that guy.
that's pretty
Yeah.
much it. Yeah.
He's
Hey,
that
Chris,
guy.
how many do you have?
No, go ahead. You want to play the game? He played the game the other day.
No, you've told me about this. You told me your wife had to cut you off.
She did.
What?
Yeah.
So how many is the cutoff?
He's a problem.
Right around 70.
70.
Is there a
Dang.
sneaker rehab?
There's
Where they
gotta be.
put you in dress
70.
shoes and walk you around the place?
Right around
70. That's good.
It's
But
not
I
bad.
mean, I'm not surprised.
It was
because
bad.
It's always the matchy.
Yeah,
You're
thanks,
good
man.
at it. I mean, I know I've
Thanks.
said that.
I think the kids think I'm too matchy though. You know,
Okay, so
like I think
now
that's
we
like
know
an
this.
old
You're
person
giving
thing,
away
so.
in the speed dating who you choose. Okay, I'm second choice. I get it. He dresses better than me.
All right.
He's smarter than me. Marsha.
Time to win them back, Scott. Go for it.
All right, so I'm going to give you 2. I'm going to give you 2 words, and you have to choose without even thinking, as fast as you can. You have to hit me back with the 2 words. You ready for this?
Okay, so you say the word.
I say the words, and you got to tell me which one you prefer.
Oh, got it.
Higher, lower,
Lower,
louder, softer,
softer,
woodwind, brass,
brass,
freshman, senior,
freshman,
fast or slow,
fast,
hot or cold,
cold,
Chinese food or Mexican food,
Mexican food. Oh, that was easy.
whiskey or wine,
Whiskey,
band or orchestra,
band,
marching or jazz.
marching,
Okay. Box truck or semi,
semi,
and arc welding or oxyacetylene welding.
oxyacetylene.
Okay, now I know if you're following along, my golden retriever and my mother, you're wondering about the last 2 because there was a linear projection, as I go through in the different instruments.
Yeah, the people listening to this have no clue that
yeah,
there's a
but there
projection
is
of any kind
because-
there. Yeah.
Miles, would you care to share with our 3 listeners where you spent spring break?
Yeah, I the first week, because we get 2 weeks, which I'm super blessed of. The first week I spent in a semi driving to San Antonio, Texas.
So in addition to being a band director who works a gazillion hours a week, you got certified to drive a semi.
Yes.
And you drove the semi for 3 days to Texas to pick up our props, inspected, loaded the props, and drove the semi 3 days back. And your wife still married to you.
Yes, she.
You have to think about it.
Takes some time. Those processes don't happen overnight, Scott. It takes a lot of time.
She approves of me as a person. Yes, absolutely. No,
It's not a ringing endorsement of your wedded bliss.
no.
She tolerates me on the odd days.
I am a band director, so
It's as good as when Chris said, I'm going to email my children to see if they love me.
Again, nobody talks to you anymore. It's all digital conversation.
texting from other rooms.
That's
and stuff. Oh,
exactly,
absolutely.
exactly.
So you, in addition to all that you do, you drive a semi.
Yeah, when I was younger, I always thought I love cars. Like I'm a motorhead. I think they're amazing. If I had a lot of money, I'd have just a huge like Jay Leno garage. Absolutely.
Okay.
And
What's your car? What's your dream car?
57 Chevy Apache.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sick.
Trucks are cool. If I get that with some like chrome Craigers on it, like a dark like midnight blue, that'd be pretty sweet. Oh yeah.
Okay.
But
How'd you end up as a band director? I'm kind of curious because
This is a good question. Yeah.
You've said
is a
like,
good
oh, I'm a sneakerhead and I wanted to be a rock and roll drummer and who is it? Motley Crue.
Tommy
yeah,
Lee.
You want to be a Motley
Tommy
Crue and
Lee, yeah.
and now you're telling me that you want to be a car guy.
Oh yeah, I love cars. I think they're awesome. But to answer your question, why I became a band director was my junior high band director, Gary Sauerbrunn. He was amazing. Trumpet player, turned me on to jazz. Loved Mickey Mouse. He was like 5'0". Yeah, he was just great. Yeah, he was the inspiration. He kind of started that.
Okay.
And then I was lucky to have like great mentors along the way. My high school band director, John Gomez, who is still a great mentor to me today. And then even through like college, I mean, it just kind of just continued to snowball. I just people were placed in my life to keep me going, even in moments where I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this. Like
Gotcha.
there was someone there to keep just pushing me along. And even now, like there's moments where it's like, I don't know about this job. It's a lot.
That was going to be my question. When it's Teacher Appreciation Week, you can say what you want. When was the last time you thought I should have been a mechanic?
Oh, yesterday.
Fair answer.
Was it when Chris came in with a burrito?
Really?
No,
that seems like a perk. Black coffee and burritos delivered to you?
Back up, the burrito.
That's a song by
I
The
didn't even
Squeeze.
realize they were coming in with the burrito. That was a great surprise. So, were you the burrito deliverer?
He was.
We both came, and my wife was a part of it too.
I didn't even see you come in.
You were very focused in
This is how well you rate. My wife came home. She organized the whole thing. No burrito for me. But But you got one delivered by Chris.
No, but the best part was it was a cup of salsa, not just like a little cup. I'm talking about this was a coffee cup from Black Rock filled with salsa.
Yeah, man, I got you.
There was none left. It was
I got
I love
you.
salsa.
Salsa. I mean, how can
gosh.
people who eat a burrito without salsa? It's
gosh.
I mean, it's just un-American.
No, you were pretty enthralled with your colorful sticks banging on things when I came in during period 1 yesterday. So
Okay, they're boom whackers. Okay.
Listen, this is a PG podcast. I just need you two to keep it clean.
I'm trying my best here.
Your
but-
boom whacker and him talking about your colorful stick.
Hey, everyone's got a vice, right?
Yeah.
But no, we're playing this boom whacker piece. It's kind of cool. It's
I'm looking forward to it.
no, yeah, it'll be fun. You'll see it at the concert. I don't want to ruin the surprise.
My soon to be 8th grader who's now obsessed with percussion because of this program still remembers the glow in the dark piece from last year. So the stuff you guys do is phenomenal. And there you go. You leave impressions.
Isn't it interesting though? You think about like as a music teacher, you're thinking we've played Holst, we've played Persichetti, we've done the First Suite, we've done the Hindemith, and the takeaway for the kid is the glow in the dark.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm trying to follow along again, but you're saying words I don't understand. I don't, Hindemith? I don't know what that is. So
He's a composer.
Okay.
Like, so have you ever done Stinking Garbage? Yeah, that's what my kids, we did Chike 4 for Marimba Ensemble. Yeah, they don't remember that, but they remember Stinking Garbage on Rubber Trash Can.
there you go. I bet.
The takeaway, and I'm going to come back to this at the end because I want to know what a kid's takeaway should be from your band program. But we're not ready for that because we just got done. We just got done doing speed dating, and I wanted to use that as a reference to like the depth and breadth of your job. So like you're driving a truck, you're driving a semi, you're arc welding. We have a music stand holder that he created, designed from scratch, and it sits in our thing. I told you should market that and have royalties.
One day, yeah, we need to do that.
How much of your job is actual bell-to-bell instruction? Percentage of what you do?
Oh gosh, I've never really thought of it in percentages, but it's not very equal, to be honest with you. There's a lot that I do outside of the bell, and most people would think that's like marching band or winter drumline or winter guard or whatever not. But a lot of it is just like, gosh, there's this tuba with the stuck slide, and then the bell to bell, you can't just sit there and work on pulling the slide. And yeah, some banders are like just send it to the shop, but a big thing for me is like I'm always thinking about numbers and trying to make it as affordable for students as possible. So it's like, if there's something that I can do to make this more affordable, I'm going to do it. And that's like part of the truck driving thing. That's what kind of pushed it when we got our semi-trailer. And then I was like, well, we'd have to pay for someone to pull this every week or we'd do a rental. So I'm like, we need a cab. So we were lucky enough. We had a band dad that's into like construction management and got us hooked up with that. And then once we got it, I went to my principal. I was like, well, who's going to drive it? Like, no one's there. So he sent me to truck driving school. And
of course he did. Yes. Truck driving school. Excellent. Good. Glad we're all on the same page on truck driving. So did you pass? What grade did you get, Miles?
Well, I will say, okay.
Let me preface this
okay.
Did you pass?
Slightly. So, no, two big things. One, the training was on weekends, and it was through band camp. Actually, Sean Shive, the previous assistant director here, it was his first year. And when I told him, hey, I'm not going to be available on the weekends throughout band camp, he's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm learning how to drive a semi. But two big things that happened. One, it was down in Tucson. So I'd teach Monday through Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, I'd be down in Tucson. It was 8 weeks long. And so
no days off for Smiles Smenny.
We live in the Phoenix metropolitan area, and they don't have a place you can go locally. You have to drive to Tucson to do this?
They had one, but it didn't work in the schedule.
Okay, fair enough.
After the season, it didn't work out. So
Gotcha.
so we went down there, and it was raining one day, and you're in this semi cab with like 5 other guys, and you rotate driving, right? And it's raining, and this one guy gets scared, slams on the brakes, and hydroplanes this semi. And it's a red light, and we're just keep going through.
Oh no!
And it's raining, and we're all sitting there like,
it's like slow motion.
Someone's gonna die.
Oh no!
Yeah. So that was the one thing. And the second thing on my driving test, I stalled. I was so embarrassed sitting there and trying to start, and he's like, "You're in 9th gear." I'm like, awesome. Can't start it in the 9th. Yeah, thanks, man. So, but yeah.
That's probably not all that uncommon, I assume, right? That's probably not.
Not for me, but others maybe.
You just keep saying, I'm a band director. I'm a band director. I don't know why I'm here.
We talked about, if you haven't been through it, we did a 2-part money episode.
Yes.
And do you remember what the hourly cost of band was?
I don't off the top of my head know.
$1.97
Yeah.
is what it costs to be in band per hour.
Yeah.
I mean,
once we take out all the travel and everything else.
you know, and the thing is, like, I want parents, not just our parents, all parents, to hear how much you and your colleagues sacrifice to save them time, to give their kids a better experience, to ensure that they have a working instrument that I don't think most people realize. And, you know, having taught that more than 50% of your job is not standing on a podium.
Yeah.
It's either operating the program as a business or fixing stuff that went wrong or volunteering and doing whatever it takes to give kids the best experience possible.
I was going to say the challenge is going to be now, though, he can't really raise the fees or anything because we just did a 2-part episode where Scott reiterates how useless the curricula you teach is. So they're not going to want to pay $1.97. So, you know, you're going to have to be careful with that.
That's a lie. It was not a 2-part episode. We did do a 2-part
It
episode.
is a 2-part episode.
Yeah, but
this is going to come out after that. So
Yeah. By the way, hint, there's some incendiary stuff in episode 8. I did say your curricula was completely and totally useless.
He may have said that.
May have said it multiple times.
May have.
At which point, Chris,
Believe it or not, there's some lesson to be learned in that.
He was like, "Are you having a?" Gave me a look like we're on live now. Are you having a seizure?
Yeah.
I mean, he was genuinely perplexed. But for those listening, you're gonna have to listen to episode 8.
Yeah, if you haven't. But
We played a game with hot and cold, high and low, and all that. We call it speed dating. We want to introduce another game and a new feature. Chris, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about it?
So it's called Then and Now. So Scott himself used to be a band director. I don't know, how long ago? Can we count?
Just go ahead and take
Fingers
your
and
pot
toes?
shot. Take your pot shot. I taught Moses, okay? He was in my marching band, and he was out of step.
Well, you know what? That worked out pretty well. All
Explains
right,
a
I'll
lot,
take it back.
yeah.
Yeah.
I taught from 1990 to 2004.
Okay. So what we're curious about is
You see
maybe...
the look on his face? He's like, they had been that long ago.
Listen, so in a...
two-valve bugles?
Yeah. In a
No,
recent...
no valves, just bugles.
That's what it's called.
So that before they had valves,
Yeah.
you could only play open partials 1 4 5 4 1.
Gotcha.
And to change notes, you had to take out the tuning slide, then called a crook, grab your D crook,
Put it
slide
in.
it in. So you walked around with
Could've
12
said
different
any
crooks,
other-
and that's how you change notes.
Which you're very familiar with. So obviously this was a challenge. This is something you dealt with quite a bit, apparently.
Familiar with the D crook, yeah.
Right?
Nice.
Right?
Listen, Susan and I taught together, okay?
Nice.
Sorry, go
No, I was
on.
going to say was we actually restored. So if you haven't listened to it, just for evidence that Scott again was a band director, Scott sent me some recordings which we played in our last mailbag. So if you want evidence that Scott is actually capable of instructing children at music, there is some recorded evidence that we
You can't
did.
prove that I was the one that actually taught those kids.
You know what? You're right. I'm just taking that for
I
granted.
got a
Actually,
question. Truth bomb. You can take,
Yes.
Did you really like the
I
recordings?
really liked them a lot.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
I really liked them a lot. To your point, I saved downtown for the end, or on Broadway for the end, because ultimately the recording on that one was a little rougher than the other one, so it was easier to kind of blend into the background. But that's not your fault. The music itself was phenomenal.
the Sonoran Sonata that you opened with
was phenomenal.
He doesn't know this.
Phenomenal.
We were playing at the National Conference for MENC, and I commissioned that work. And if you listen to it, it maybe put at the end of this episode, it vacillates between classical sounding, like with the xylophone,
Yeah.
the Canadian brass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We did a concert with the Canadian brass at the Phoenix Symphony Hall.
That's awesome.
And so I had the work commissioned. It was supposed to blend jazz and classical, and the jazz band played classical, and they played jazz.
Oh, how cool. That's super cool.
It was cool.
It's
Yeah.
super cool.
It
Anyway,
was cool.
back to our game, Chris.
Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to throw some questions out that are band director type questions, and we're kind of curious if his answer would be any different than yours, meaning that based
Back
on when
then.
Scott taught, right, versus when you taught now.
And I have no idea what the questions are.
No. And I'm gonna make it think a little bit. I'm gonna ask some legit questions because
Who's
this is
gonna go
supposed
first?
to be a podcast for
Them
parents that
or
are
now?
learning things. I'll leave it up to y'all. It really doesn't bother me.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, each
So,
other.
all right. So first question is from an administration standpoint. Okay.
Okay.
So your administration puts you on the spot, basically to let you know that they booked this huge football game. Right. You got to go to California because you're playing the number 7 team in the country. The band has to represent. Let's say it's going to be on national television. The pressure is the band has to be there to participate in it. This happens to overlap with a weekend that you need to participate in a competition to qualify for your local circuit, for your state circuit. So the question is, how do you handle that situation? What would your approach be? How would you respond to They want your support here, but you're torn because you want to participate competitively in your own circuit.
It's not even a contest. We're not going to the football game. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have a curricula to follow. I have a calendar that was published 6 months ago. Decisions were made. Budgets were assigned. If there's a way that can we do a send-off? Can we do something at the PEP assembly?
Gotcha.
Can I send you with recordings? But absolutely not. No.
Now, could you take that same stance? How do you feel if with the way that you have to handle things?
If with the information given, I would probably take the same stance, but I would have questions before I would take that. One, who's paying for it? If you're asking me to pay for it, no.
It doesn't matter who pays for it if you don't go. Just say no. Nancy talks. Just say no.
Where in the season are we?
Okay, then we heard from you already. It's time for now.
Where in the season are we? And again, we always do, for me in my program, we always do a few more competitions that aren't like for our local circuit. You need to do like 2 competitions to qualify for semifinals, whatever not.
Right.
Is it a competition that we don't need? Is it early in the season? Is this something that is going to add to the student experience? I don't know. So with the information given,
No.
I'm a people pleaser though, Scott. You know that. So I would say no with what you told me.
Okay,
so.
Fair enough. But for what it's worth,
Scott,
for what it's worth,
just say no.
For what it's worth, Miles appears to be more thoughtful than Scott. I guess we'll just say
I
it
thought
that
it
way.
through quite well. The answer is no.
Yeah,
There's nothing to consider here.
Okay, fair enough.
Would the football team drop that football game to come support us at a competition that weekend?
Yeah,
You're
I don't know.
absolutely right.
Yeah,
That is
no.
my question.
And the thing is, here's the thing. I wouldn't expect them to.
That's fair.
But you're expecting me to alter everything
Gotcha.
my students and I do
Gotcha.
you. There needs and there is an education process. And I will tell you, Miles, I never had a bad principal. My entire career, but there's an education process that comes along with that. Like I guarantee you, Principal X, after 2 years with me, wouldn't have even come to me with that question. They would have told the football coach no. Would have never even come across my desk because I would have trained my principal. That's an inappropriate thing to ask.
You would have trained your principal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you educate. Training is training's a pejorative
I was going to
term.
say that.
Yeah, that's a pejorative term.
Yeah,
I would educate them.
Gotcha.
And they would come to respect the art form and respect what we're doing the way they respect football.
How about, I should have probably added a disclaimer before we started this segment. These are completely hypothetical situations, by the way. I don't want anybody to hear these questions and think there's some inference that this is a real thing that's happening. These are completely hypothetical scenarios.
Hypothetically, I just said no.
And I'm indecisive.
There you go.
So,
Hypothetically indecisive.
yes, correct.
That's true, actually. So there's no real weight there.
Overthink.
Okay, I went first. It's now his turn to go
Okay.
first. Now has to go first.
Now for the second question is it's kind of dealing with parents, all right? So it's a parental question. So you have a parent who's upset about the results of recent tryouts. For example, and this is actually a real life scenario, not a hypothetical one. Let's say they're upset that their student didn't make the wind ensemble.
Chris, do you want to tell us about your child's audition?
Oh, my child's been fine. We don't have to. Mom, Ava's good. We don't have to talk about Ava.
Not
Ava's good.
hypothetical, just
No.
saying.
I'm just saying because there's weight on it. So because this is where I could see maybe a parent putting emphasis in the wrong place. So for example, our wind ensemble learned that they're getting the privilege to travel to New York City next year and play in Carnegie Hall. So let's say you have a parent who's upset their child did not make wind ensemble, who's going to miss out on this trip now, and is upset with you because they think their child is worthwhile. They think their child should be in wind ensemble and they want to be a part of this trip. How do you handle the conversation with the parent to basically tell them, I don't want to say this in a mean way, but sorry, your kid wasn't good enough?
So that's a great question. Gosh, so loaded, isn't it? Unfortunately, like every student has the opportunity to practice the same and prepare themselves. Now, if this was a student that could show growth, maybe they take private lessons, I could talk to them. Maybe I would consider re-auditioning, but if it's in the moment, every student needs to have a fair playing field. So
Gotcha.
It's also, if for an upper ensemble, we think about instrumentation. So it's like, well, if you're a flute player, we already have 6 flutes in there. I mean,
It's one more flute, Miles. Why are you being a hard case?
Okay, now with that said, it is my job, if I have students that are at the ability, it is my job to work on balance and blend. If the student is at the ability to be in that ensemble, that's my job.
Sure.
And I'm not going to gatekeep a student that has the proper abilities to be in an ensemble for that.
Good to know.
I would say my gut is I would probably say I'm sorry they'll have an opportunity next year. I know this is a big trip, but this is where we stand.
I appreciate that you at least left the door open to if you think there's some I guess opportunity for the kid to improve if they want to invest themselves more. You're not completely shutting the door. You're still giving them some opportunity to. And
that's something that I have done before. Where if we have a student that shows a lot of potential, like they're coming in, that this isn't just a wanting a title of being an upper ensemble. If they show that they really care and they're willing to put in the work, and maybe this is a student that doesn't take private lessons, and I say, hey, take the summer, I need you to get private lessons, let's re-audition, let's try again.
Okay.
And we've done that before, but it's only if the student's going to be willing to put in the work. I'm not going to just take a student and re-audition them with the same result. It's like retaking a math quiz without studying. It's pointless. So
okay, that's fair. Then what do you say?
Well, first of all, his response is spot on.
Okay.
It probably wouldn't change for me, although I tend to be pretty creative. And so, I would look at him and say, okay, but I could use an extra percussionist on this one song.
Gotcha.
Or I need a student manager on this trip. I need you to handle room check-ins. I need you to do equipment.
Gotcha.
Like if I'm a believer, if I can find a way, I'm going to find the will. I've always been that way.
Okay.
But his answer is spot on. But here's the difference between then and now. Email.
Okay.
A parent would have to take 3 to 4 days to cool off before I'd let him come see me. They'd leave me a voicemail, and I'd wait 6 or 7 hours to respond to it.
Okay.
And it would be at the end of business day, and then I'd say, my day's full tomorrow. The thing that he has to deal with that I didn't is the immediacy
Everybody's
of internet
used
and
to,
texting and phone.
Yeah.
So
everything's urgent.
I would, because the parent's hurting. That's what it is. The parent is hurting for the child because the child is hurting.
Gotcha.
And time is the one thing that it won't heal, but it will soothe wounds. So he's in a much more glaring spotlight than I would have had to been in.
Gotcha.
So I appreciate all his answer because he's spot on. I would probably try and find a creative way to get the kid on the trip and maybe even on the stage.
Okay.
But I think he's in a much more, I think teachers today are in a much more difficult place than when I taught 15 years ago, 22 years ago.
Yeah, because of having to be responsible for immediate answers and results to everything, because everything is so, in the moment.
The email changed everything, and I didn't have email until probably my last 5 years of teaching.
Yeah. How'd you get drill? Did you get that mailed to you?
No, you have fax. Everything came by fax.
That's awful.
Oh, it is awful, and the copies were crap. I mean, you're like, I think that's .72.
Wait, it
could be peanut butter. I'm not sure.
I want to actually come back to that point, but I think you both raised a good point. Sometimes that maybe parents don't realize, and I think sometimes it's on the kid themselves to maybe take the responsibility of where do I fit? Where's another opportunity for me to fit in potentially, right? And I honestly will tell you that's why, again, I think my daughter has had the success that she has is because she's always been willing to pick up where the need is.
Smart.
And adapt herself to it, and then assert herself, and to your point, the lessons and all that stuff. She'll always invest herself in whatever it might be, right? Again, she came into high school playing clarinet. I see her on the field carrying a sousaphone around in marching band freshman year. I'm like, what is she doing? That thing's bigger than her.
If you need to know how to do that, let me know.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Let's just be honest. If you want to be quarterback, chances of making the team are 1 in 50. Fair point?
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's look at it the same way.
If you're willing to be the third left tackle, chances of making the team are pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to make the top wind ensemble, play bassoon, play bari sax, play tuba.
Okay.
I guarantee you're going to be in the top group and you're going to Carnegie Hall.
That's fair.
It's so to the parents listening, if your child is struggling, if they're not making the top group and they're playing flute, if they're not in the top jazz band, they're playing lead alto, then turn to them and say, okay, but then go to the band director and ask them, what instrument do you need and how quickly can I learn it?
Yeah. Because I'm just as impressed. So as much as I'm impressed with the kids who master their instrument, I'm just as impressed as the kids who handle multiple instruments in different ways.
Absolutely. Impressive.
And you have so many examples of that within your ensembles here
100%.
that it's really, really impressive. So I just wanted to point that out. I will say too, but you kind of questioned him and said, how did you get drill? Do we do some advanced technology in our drill that I'm not aware of? Because I'm pretty sure I'm at the dollar store buying books every 2 days for them to write in little drill books and dots or something.
Sanskrit. Yeah.
Okay. Did I miss something?
We're gonna introduce Miles to dot books that don't actually have writing in them. That they're just the chord.
Okay.
Yeah, Scott enlightened me. Well, Darren Davis enlightened me this year, and it was a funny story because we were at lunch and we brought.
Don't know Darren Davis. I'm sorry.
Go.
He's the director of bands at Broken Arrow. without question, one of the top 3 programs in the country today. Everyone can agree on that. But Darren Davis's specialty is cleaning drill. So now, finish.
Well, first of all, he was just so kind and very modest. And we were at lunch, and Scott brought up that we do dot books. And I've always been a believer that dot books were like, yeah, this is the way to go. It gives all the information.
Yeah.
Even when I see kids struggling on the field, losing pages, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, this is
part of the
way you do
process.
it. And he brought up, why? And I said, I don't know. Like, I didn't have a good answer.
Because percussion music is larger, right? So just so you have to know this. Our process is they cut the music out, they write the coordinate in, and then they take a picture of the drill, and the picture is completely illegible, and my son's handwriting is less legible than the picture. And then because he gets 4 bars to a sheet, he's got so much paper in there, I swear to God, he's got the New Testament. He's walking around the field with the New Testament.
Nice.
And he's got the Old Testament. That was movement 1.
Nice.
The New Testament was movement 2.
He's got the original version. You taught Moses, so he's got the original
book. I don't know. I think
devotional.
It's Scientology.
That's awesome.
Sure.
Gotcha.
So I will say, because that's kind of what I was pointing to, is there are parts of my job that are much easier because I don't have technology, and there are parts of my job that were much more difficult than yours. Like, I mean, I had a band kid write custom code software using HyperCard so I could keep individual band accounts, because that technology didn't exist. Ben Hackbarth, he's now a professor of composition at the University of London, that was his leadership project, wrote HyperCard software so I could tally kids' accounts.
Oh, wow.
We didn't, Excel didn't have that. Excel didn't exist back then. There wasn't like Quicken.com. I mean, so there were parts of my job that I think would be much easier if I had to do it today.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. The Band Dads fully endorse the Ultimate Drill Book, by the way. We fully endorse it if they ever want to, create a partnership with the Band Dads,
Chris is a great guy.
Okay. Lastly, and again, you guys can take it however you want it. It's more of, again, this is influenced by technology as well. But so when it comes to the kids themselves, you have to deal with the relationship that exists between 130 different kids at any particular time. Some good, some bad. The way that they communicate with each other now is mostly electronic, right? And you have some means to be able to help push where that happens and monitor it and all of those things. But if you start to find out about negative relationships that exist within your band to the point where you know that it's going to cause problems within your band between the students directly themselves, how do you address that? Do you address it? Do you let them work it out themselves? What's the best way to handle something like that?
Well, first of all, you have to follow your school's code of conduct policy, because there's
Fair.
anti-bullying, anti-harassment language that's already built into that.
Fair enough.
The second thing you want to do, if you believe it's a one-off thing, if you believe it's a kid who made a bad choice, if you believe it's a kid who responded in the heat of the moment that's an otherwise good kid, then you have to sit that kid down and educate him and provide a learning opportunity and a consequence.
Okay.
If you feel like it's something more, you have to hand that off to your administration. When you're talking about mental health, when you're talking about bullying, when you're talking about hazing, when you're talking about maybe something that might be associated with sexism or racism or ageism, that you have to remove yourself. Because I have been in situations where I was too close into the situation. I went, well, he's a good kid. He didn't mean harm. And years later, I look back and went, I should have handed that off to someone who's objective to do that. Not only for that child, but it provided me as a teacher with some protection in terms of it went anything higher. But again, that's an area where Miles has it way more difficult than I do. The easier part is he can hit send and communicate with every kid.
Right.
I couldn't do that.
Right.
But the dark side of that is a kid can hit send and get to any kid. So
that's
tell us how you'd handle it, Mr. Now.
Honestly, very in the similar way, but it's also subjective in terms of like what the situation is really.
Sure.
If it's like Scott was saying, if it's a student that just made a wrong choice, the student, like that's an easy learning experience.
Okay.
But if depending on the content, where it's at, when there's so many hypotheticals there, but I'm fortunate to have like a great relationship with our administration, and I'm just texting like, hey, this is happening.
Yeah.
Let me know what to do right now, and it's usually either a walk down or a phone call.
Okay.
And we get it settled pretty quickly, but for the most part, I mean, if we can make a student more aware of something, let's do it. Let's teach them how to act socially.
Right.
Here's something. Have you as a teacher ever hit send on an email too quickly to a parent?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
That's
unfortunate,
Yeah.
And I've done it in my life 1,000 times, but we didn't have email as a teacher.
Right.
But I think, that's something that's really difficult now because everything's in writing, everything's documented forever.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, nowadays I'm better at it, but as like a young director, just like trying to communicate as quick as possible, that was something that I felt very hurried to do. So I definitely made email mistakes, and not always just responding in the wrong way, but maybe the wrong information, just many things. But there are, I'm sure, plenty of emails, more than I probably know of, that I hit send, and I'm like,
I appreciated. Do you remember the first time? Because I'm a band dad. That's what I do, and I have a then and now for you two.
Okay.
Do you remember the first time you ever reached out to me as a former teacher?
Yes, I think so. Maybe. Oh gosh, do you
What
know
was
something? Wasn't it to do a clinic with our students? Wasn't it?
Nope.
No,
as a teacher. So as my son in the band, you reached out to me one night, and a parent had lit you up, had said some things to you, reached out to you, and lit you up. And I was so appreciative that before you responded, you texted me, and it was like 10 o'clock at night, and you said,
I'm sorry.
No. Okay. And you said, here's what's going on. This parent said A, B, C, D, E, F. What's your professional thoughts? And what was my response?
Go touch grass.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said, and then he responded with, thank you. I needed to hear that. My wife loves you.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't go touch grass, but it was It was tell them to go mind their own business in a less than polite way.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Because that's the thing, like as a teacher, you are dealing with people's kids. And so the love and respect they have for you is going to be extreme compared to any other teacher. The disdain and anger they're going to have at you is going to be
extreme
equally
as well.
extreme.
Yeah.
It's
I can
their
see that.
kid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
So that's my then and now for you two. Okay, you're now, you're then, because you have a 2-year-old,
Yes.
and you have a kid who's in the midst and about to graduate out of high school, and one that's about to enter the program.
Okay.
When I started teaching back then, it was 42 pages of drill. We never rehearsed Saturdays. We didn't rehearse nights. Only juniors and seniors march. And look what it's evolved to now. Okay, so your now is difficult. Correct. I mean, it's not easy to be in a marching band. I'm not talking about our band.
No.
It's
yes,
difficult.
that's fair.
Okay.
And I'd say that's part of the process. Yes.
Then we know that it gets harder every year. 3%. We said over 25 years, it's 105%. What is your son going to be doing in 17 years? And at what point would you prefer band now or band 17 years from now if it continues its trajectory of difficulty, intensity, year-round training? Tell me what you would choose now as a parent. Tell me what you would choose for your son.
I mean, right now seems pretty good right now, to be honest. I think we're learning the lessons that we need to. I think the things that the kids take away from a character perspective are exactly what they should be. So again, it teaches them to work hard, and there's a lot of work involved. But again, they do get to see the fruits of that work. They do get to see the outcome and achieve those things. And I don't think it's so over the top that it discourages them, I guess, if that's the right way. So I think it's a good balance. It's a good balance of they learn the lesson and it's hard, but it's not so hard that it's too hard. Does that make sense?
Okay, I need you to do one of those.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing you've said on our Band Dad podcast.
Oh, wow. Look at me.
That is the best thing that you've said.
Look at me.
Yeah, look at me.
Let's edit in some applause.
Yeah, okay. Oh.
No, because what
I think it's a perfect
about
balance.
that was the first thing you said was it's the right amount of difficulty to learn the lessons they need to learn.
Yes.
And as soon as you said it, I was like, whoa.
Right.
That was my favorite thing you've said in our 12 episodes of the Band.
And
I'm
sure Miles wouldn't disagree. There are moments where I'm like, maybe we don't need to do that again.
I'm sure he has the same moment.
But overall, I think it's exactly where it should be. Now, I also appreciate. Now, again, my experience is very personal because I'm one program, right? I have one director. So I can only go by my own experience. But the thing, again, that I appreciate about Miles is I think Miles himself even is learning and taking lessons away from his experience each season to the point now where I can already look forward to next season and I already have some anticipation of how things might be different. And they seem very, very positive to me because, again, he's not a tyrant, right? He's not a stubborn band director who we'll say,
Thanks.
exactly what we did last year. We're going to do that again,
You'd
but even
be-
harder because it'll get better.
But Chris, I think you'd be amazed that I think most teachers are that way.
That's fair.
I'm going.
No, I think that's fair.
Band directors.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Like, and because Miles, I'll never forget when we were sitting down with Darren Davis. He literally looked at Darren and said, "Tell me everything I'm doing wrong. Don't hold back. Don't be nice. I want to get better."
Right.
And
who's
that
got
was the moment I knew that he was a different animal than most band
That's
directors.
fair.
Because I got to tell you, I wouldn't have been that open.
Yeah.
I mean, you laid yourself bare, and that was so impressive to me. So impressive. And I
can
thought
appreciate that, yeah.
Darren's shots at your dress habits were a little over the top, and
Maybe a little.
but I mean, you just no, you didn't. So okay, now you've got a son who's going to be in marching band in 13 years.
Yeah.
13 years.
I mean, I hope he's in marching band. I hope he's in band or. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, according
now
to
he's worried.
well, no, but remember, if you listen to the Band Dad podcast, if he comes to you and tells you he doesn't want to do band, what do you say?
Just say no.
There you go. You just tell him no. You're doing band. That's it.
And, okay, but before you say that, and we talked about this a little bit episode, and you and I've talked a lot. The reason you just say no is because they don't know what they don't know.
100%.
And when I questioned my decision to require my second kid to do it because it was a really difficult fall, and we wouldn't have gotten through it without you, Miles. You know that.
Yeah.
But then when he came back of his own volition, it proved that making him go through that experience, it would have been easy to let him quit in the 8th grade. That would have been the easier choice for the family.
Sure.
But it wasn't the right choice for that kid.
Right.
And so, there was some truth that came full circle in the last 4 days when they started auditions.
Yeah.
Okay, so 15 years from now, Miles, do you think marching band will be in a better place, a healthier place? Or do you think we've crossed healthy? Some have.
So, yes, I think it depends on the program. I see a lot of positive within what we do, but I think there's also a lot of people who haven't really moved and grown forward in the right ways, where they're just kind of stuck in the old things. But if to answer your question, as long as it's educational, so I mean,
Good answer.
Okay.
That's a good answer.
Okay.
So,
But there are only so many minutes in the day, so you have two choices: drive the kids harder or rehearse longer, or the art form stagnates, right? I mean, if you want to do more drill, then you need either to be more efficient with the time that you have,
Right.
And that's where technology has helped.
That's fair.
These kids aren't looking at chalk drawings for drill anymore.
Right.
They've got computer printouts. And
Right.
It's just a question of time. You should figure this out, and I want credit for it. I don't understand why we don't use.
You do the work, but
I don't. No, because it's my idea.
it's a good-
I just don't understand how far away are we from GPS for drill. I mean, you're going to be in the right spot or the wrong spot. And you can do it. You geofence the field is how you do it. You put 4 markers at the 4 corners, you geofence it, it can cross-read it. And the kids can have devices now. It's not super easy or super cheap, but that's how we're going to get drill 20% cleaner in 20% less time.
I think they can already do that in like Roblox. I don't think you're coming up with any brilliant idea, by the way.
I don't want to hear about Roblox anymore. Please, no.
Do they come to you with that? They'd be like, Mr. Denny, look at what I did. And they try and show
I've
you
had
their
junior hires
Roblox
ask
drill.
me to play Roblox with them.
Oh, yeah, no.
What
Don't
am I doing
don't
here?
do that.
No.
Okay, so this is your what for you?
Going on 10.
Okay, tell me tell me one thing you're better at, one thing you're not as good at after 10 years.
Better at tuning.
Okay.
One
tuning.
thing you're worse at.
One thing I'm worse at, actually having good boundaries, like work-life boundaries. I'm worse at that. Much worse. Yeah.
You have boundaries?
Point made. Yeah.
This was your one night off, and you're here at the Band Dad podcast.
That's true.
Hey, we have an orchestra concert.
We do have an orchestra concert. That's true. Yeah, that's true. What do you remember as your best day in the profession, and what do you remember as your worst day in the
That's my
profession?
favorite question.
Best day. Recently I had. I mean, I think I have a lot of best days. I'm really blessed with a great community and amazing kids. Truly, like I think Basha is a really interesting place. It's a special one. So I think I'm pretty blessed to have a lot of moments that are.
Okay, I'm gonna call bull blank on you right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you're a part of that community. He's like being nice about right
Yeah,
now.
but
So I
it's
don't know why you
special
don't.
because you. This is
Okay.
drywall and
Okay.
paint and brick and tile. That's all
Hey,
it is.
I laid this carpet.
Gee, for the love of God, Miles, go home. See your son. You laid the carpet?
Yeah, don't you think it looks nice?
It looks great. What the hell is wrong with you?
I know. That was a mistake.
Did you even let him get to the point, though? Did he even share what his actual best day was?
I'll share two. One best day was this year we actually took, for the first time, this has been a goal of mine for many years. As a percussionist, I took my winter drum line to Dayton, Ohio,
Yes.
and we made finals. That was pretty surreal. And
Incredible.
I won't get emotional with it because that was just something that I've been working for a long time.
Absolutely.
And I have a lot of passion for that.
Yeah.
And just really proud of those students. Another one, I had a student that was having a difficult time at home. And you wouldn't have known this of this student. At the end of their 4 years at our awards banquet, they got an award, a bigger award. It was our John Philip Sousa Award. And they mentioned how much it meant to them because of all they had went through. And
Sure.
we talked a little bit more in depth, and I would have never known. And it was one of those moments where realizing how strong students
That's
and
fair.
kids are.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
for sure.
Yeah.
that was one of those proud moments where he mentioned like how much band meant to him, and this was a place where he could come and feel safe. I don't know,
Yeah.
it just meant a lot. So those
Awesome.
are probably the two.
That's awesome.
Worst day.
Worst day. Well, these two guys asked me to be on this podcast.
Yeah, that's
once.
actually really terrible.
I
The
really
day you
wanted to be,
finally
I
gave
really
in.
wanted to be laying some carpet and repairing the semi, but I couldn't say no.
No, that's always a hard question because I think for me, people say their worst day, but I'm a really big proponent of like your worst days are sometimes your best days because you're learning a lot.
That's fair.
So to be honest with you, my wife will attest to this. I'm a glutton for punishment, and I'm pretty difficult on myself. So I will say probably one of the worst days is after concerts for me personally. It's because I'm so proud of the kids and I love what they do, but I'll listen back to
Don't
recordings.
do that. Yeah,
I know
that's a
it's
mistake.
terrible.
Don't do that.
And
It's never going to be as good as you remember. In 16 years, I've never heard a recording went, wow, that was a lot better than what I thought it went.
Gotcha.
so, but there was particularly one concert and nothing went right that year. And
You know why I don't send you recordings?
why?
Because I listen to them and go, did I even teach?
Gotcha.
Like, I mean, what was I doing?
come on.
I mean,
Gotcha.
I can send them to you, but I can't send them to him because he's going to.
what?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I taught my trumpet's tone with a chainsaw. I think that's the only thing I can come up with.
Is that a kazoo? Oh,
Nice.
That's my altos.
I think they're using mutes. They're not? Huh. That's an interesting sound. Okay, he said best day, worst day. I'm going to tag on. First day, last day. Do you remember your first day
Of teaching?
of teaching?
Oh, yes.
Was it here at Basha?
No.
Where was it?
My first day was at Stevenson Elementary School in Mesa.
You were an elementary school teacher? Mm-hmm. How long did you do elementary school?
1 year.
Okay. Last day, and be honest, do you see yourself finishing out your career as a teacher?
I don't know.
The mechanic thing's looking pretty good now.
Nice.
You can get more sneakers, probably.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. I think I will take it one day, 1 year at a time. I do love what I do, and I think I always have a hard time saying, like, I think I'm good at it, but I think I have the right personality for it at times. Maybe not all the time, but I do love this activity. There are moments, I'll be honest, when I see, and this one's kind of hard, but I see how much my own wife has to sacrifice for me to be here, which is really difficult.
Yeah.
When like this week, having something like every night of the week, and then she came to help me print certificates for our band banquet. And
Gotcha.
then she's going to take care of our 2-year-old son. So when that's at the forefront, it's difficult.
Yeah.
And it's not because she's not supportive, because she's an absolute
She's a
saint.
saint.
Absolutely.
Saint.
Yeah.
But it's because I see what she sacrifices
Yeah.
to make this possible.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay, we have.
Wait, he says he has a hard time telling himself he's good at it. We'll tell you. You're good at this.
Yeah, you're really good.
You're really, really good at this.
And I'll tell you
We'll-
this
we'll
one.
let you know.
I used to say, and with my older son, that's true. My biggest regret was not teaching my own children. And I will tell you, I would have been you are twice the teacher to Evan than I would have been. Because you are far more patient, far more forgiving, far more kind than I would have ever been, much less with my own son. Had I came to this realization a couple weeks ago. Had I taught Evan, it might have broken us.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it almost broke us, and I wasn't his teacher. So you are extraordinarily good at what you do.
Oh, thank you.
Extraordinarily good at what you do. And we chose Basha for the band. You know that. I've told you that before. I teased this at the start of the episode. What's the walk away? When a kid, in 7 days, when those kids are walking down the aisle in their green gowns and their gold tassels, yes, folks, green and gold, picture that sucker. If you just picture the Packers and with skirts on. So,
I mean, there's worse, but it's not very good, is it?
what's the takeaway? What do you want a kid to walk away with, having learned, having experienced in the Basha Band program?
Well, I'll start by saying what I tell my students is it's never about the plaques we put on the wall. It's never about the trophy. It's about the memories you make with friends. That's my underlying philosophy of it. And if I had to leave it there, I would be fine with it. But I think I'm not just building musicians. I think that's a byproduct of what we do. I'm here to try to help students be better human beings.
Sure.
That's the goal, that end goal. And if I have a band that can sort of play in tune, and we could find the venue, that would be great.
They can if you just don't listen back to the recordings. They're perfectly in tune. Just leave it at that moment.
It's those darn piccolo players, man.
So, and the thing that brought it back home for me, and I've talked about this a couple times, but again, last year when I was trusted with doing some stuff at the banquet for like this promo video for the band, I got to interview yourself and some of the kids. Yeah, it was never about, and that was a group again that won a championship in marching band. They won, right, vibe stuff, right? They had plenty of accolades that they could talk about. It was always just how positive the experience was, how much they've grown, how much the people that they play with are family now. That's their takeaway, right? And again, this guy, when I said, what's the goal for your program? Thinking the same thing. Like he's going to talk about, I want us to be competitive. I want us to be this. And he's like, I just want every kid to have the best experience possible. That was his answer. I was like, it's a pretty good place to be, I think.
I think
it's a pretty good place to be.
I got one last question for you if Chris doesn't. And I just realized,
Go
Chris,
ahead.
we did not introduce the podcast.
Oh.
I'm Scott Lang.
Chris Flynn.
And we're the
Bandits.
Okay, now to my last question. Did you realize that we hadn't introduced the podcast?
Well, you just kind of went right into it. This has happened before.
So how did you guys come up with that, by the way?
The Bandits? Yeah, that was just a name I thought was catchy.
Like, I'm Scott Lang. Like,
I don't know. It just happened. Yeah, that was pretty organic.
No, so what happened after you weren't around? So when we were at NAU, and those of our regular listeners, which is my mother and Golden Retriever, when we were at NAU Band Day, the two bands that were on the field warming up, Mission Hills and Edmond Memorial, they're clients of mine. And they're running by and they're high-fiving me. And Mr. Lang, yeah. And they're going nuts. And a band parent came up and said, "Are you Batman?" And I'm like, "No." He goes, "How do you know these kids?" I said, "Oh, well, I live in this world." And so after the event, a parent was saying that they didn't know what the judges knew. That we were the best band there, clearly. And I kind of popped off and said, "No, I had us at 4th in music and 6th in visual." And then Chris came up to me and said, "Explain."
Is that what you're asking? I feel like you're not answering his question. I think he just wanted to know how we came up with our thing where we say the Bandits together.
Yeah.
That's all he wanted to know.
Okay, don't worry. I wasn't going to interrupt you.
I know, same. I'm looking at him and going, that wasn't the question.
Did you know Chris is a data analyst?
In case you guys didn't know professionally,
We gotta get that.
I'm a
in
data
every
analyst.
episode.
Yeah, no, he was just saying how we came up with the intro thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just happened.
That's what I
It's the
said.
way the whole podcast happened.
I answered that much more succinct than you did. I just said it just
I
happened.
think if you were to track it, you would find that you answered most things more succinctly.
That's fair.
than me do.
That's a fair point, actually. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Okay, so my final question was, if you had to say, you've got tens of band parents, and they're really thousands, to be honest with you.
There are.
I minimize it.
He
but
tries to be humble, but
yeah.
yes.
If you had to say one thing to those band parents that they might not know, that their director can't say to them, that you can say for them. You know, because I always say when I travel around the country, I'm saying the same stuff your band director is. It's just I can say it in a way they can't.
Yeah.
What is something you would say to band parents that aren't your band parents? So Basha band parents, turn off the podcast now. What's something they don't know about the job or how?
Just one of those things you wish you could, yell out to everybody, but it seems self-serving otherwise.
Oh, I'm a human.
Wow.
I'm a human.
That's a really good point. And that's sad that you have to say that.
Yeah,
but
It is sad, but there you go.
I think I'm a public servant. I'm here. I'm a teacher, but at the end of the day, I put on my pants one leg at a time.
Yeah.
Unlike Scott, he probably hovers above the bed.
because his legs don't touch the ground. Is that what you're?
I wasn't going to say it out loud, but okay. Just sitting there, just swinging those guys. Gosh. That's pretty good.
I have a step stool on, have you know. Okay?
It's in front of the sink,
step up to get into bed.
It's like
Good for you.
It was actually a dog assist to get in the bed that he bought
Well, that's
off
exactly
Amazon.
what it was. It wasn't step stool, but the dog
It's a
assistant
dog
right
ramp?
there.
Okay.
I have a dog ramp.
Yeah,
But that's a really good point. And one of the things that Scott and I try and remind people all the time is what parents should be there, boosters should be there for, is to support their band director and the direction and the vision of the program above all else, because
You're human.
correct. And we trust you. And
I appreciate that.
yeah, no, absolutely.
And I hope I make it clear, but it's humbling to be a band director at times, because you have so many parents dedicating so much time, and your students are here dedicating so much time, and they're finding ways like, gosh, you had a student making code for you. I mean, like think about the things that they do above and beyond. So well, my answer was I'm a human, but at the same time, it's very humbling how much the dedication comes from these communities. I mean, and I think Basha is a special place because I'm the director here, and I get to see these parents one-on-one and these students, but it's not, this happens elsewhere as well, and there's many success stories that band directors have, and I'm just lucky to be one of them.
That's
But
awesome.
to all those parents, to your point, who are saying, my program's a special program. Yes, it is, but it's not because of the brick and the mortar and the drywall and the paint and the carpet that Miles laid.
That's
and
true.
You probably ran the electrical too. I don't know. But
or the useless curriculum that he spends hours teaching them. Yes.
it's because of the person that creates that place.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
A home isn't a home till mom and dad, or dad and mom make it a home.
Yeah.
A band room isn't a special place till the music teacher makes it a special place.
Yeah. Good point. We just end there. Wholesome. Do we end on a wholesome note?
I think so. So he's
Miles Denny.
Chris Flynn.
Scott Lang, and we're the
Bandads.
No, you got to say it too because you're a band and you're a dad. Let's try this again. He needs some practice.
Sorry.
He's a drummer. Okay. Try it again. You're
Miles Denny.
Chris Flynn.
Scott Lang, and we're the
Bandads. Thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate you. To stay up to date with the Bandads podcast, visit our website, banddadspodcast.com. Want to communicate with the Bandads? Send an email to feedback@banddadspodcast.com. The Bandads podcast is a Five Deuce Media production. For more information, visit 5deucemedia.com. That's numeral 5deucemedia.com. For more information on Scott Lang leadership and solutions for music education, visit scottlang.net.